My wife leaves the house while I fight for my life due to illness, leaving nothing but a note in response. The note was short, but it contained so much pain and unspoken words that I couldn't take my eyes off it. She wrote, "I can't do this anymore. Please forgive me." These words pierced me like a knife. I couldn't believe that the person I shared my life with could just walk away, leaving me alone with my fears and suffering. From the moment I learned about my illness, the world around me began to change. At first, it was just mild symptoms, fatigue, slight pains. I thought it was just stress or overwork. But when the doctors gave me a diagnosis, everything turned upside down. I found myself in the hospital, surrounded by white walls and the smell of antiseptics. And this was the beginning of my new, harsh existence. Every day I fought for life, for the chance to see the light outside the window, for the chance to hug my wife again. But instead of the support I expected, I faced her absence. At first, she visited me in the hospital, but soon her visits became rare. I saw her trying to smile, but her eyes reflected anxiety and fear. I didn't understand what was happening. Why couldn't she be there when I needed her the most? I tried talking to her about it, but every conversation ended in arguments. She said she couldn't cope with the situation, that she didn't know how to help me, and eventually just left. When I read her note, I felt something inside me break. I didn't know what to do. I lay on the hospital bed, surrounded by tubes and monitors, feeling more alone than ever. I couldn't allow myself to give up, but I also couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. How could she leave me at such a moment? I was lost, and each day became increasingly unbearable. Time passed, and I continued to receive treatment. I tried to focus on my recovery, but thoughts of her never left me. I remembered how we had planned our future together, dreamed of children, of a home, of growing old together. Now all of that seemed like an unattainable dream. I felt my life falling apart, and each piece reminded me of what I had lost. One day, while lying in my room, I saw a nurse enter with a bouquet of flowers. They were not just any flowers, they were the same ones I had once given her on our anniversary. At that moment, I realized that she hadn't just left me, she had left to start a new life, and willing to continue fighting my battles. I couldn't come to terms with this. After being discharged from the hospital, I returned home, but the house no longer felt like home. It was empty and cold, filled with memories of what was and what could have been. I began to gather the things that reminded me of her and put them in boxes. Each item brought back moments of happiness that now felt distant and unreachable. I didn't know how to move forward. One evening, sitting in silence, I decided to write her a letter. I didn't know if she would read it, but I needed to express my feelings. I wrote about my pain, how much I missed her support, how hard it was to fight the illness alone. I tried to explain that I didn't want her to suffer because of me, but I needed her to be there. I ended the letter with the words, "I forgive you, but I hope you understand how much you meant to me." I sent the letter, and for several days I received no response. I began to lose hope, but one day, when I returned from a walk, I saw an envelope in the mailbox. It was her letter. I opened it with trepidation, and upon reading it, I realized that she was suffering too. She wrote about her feelings, about how hard it was for her to see me sick, about how she feared losing me and didn't know how to cope with the situation. She said she didn't want to leave, but felt overwhelmed. These words struck a chord in me. I understood that we were both lost, but in different ways. She hadn't left me to hurt me, she just didn't know how to be. We both needed help, but instead of coming together, we had drifted apart. We began to correspond. Every day I waited for her letters, and with each new message, I felt our connection being restored. We started to talk about our feelings, fears, and hopes. I realized that she still cared about me, and this gave me the strength to continue my fight. Over time, I began to feel better. The treatment was working, and I was starting to recover. I realized that despite all the difficulties, we had a chance to rebuild our relationship. We decided to meet. It was a moment filled with excitement, hope, and fear. I didn't know how she would react, but I was ready for any outcome. When we met, I saw tears in her eyes. She approached me and hugged me, and in that moment, I felt all our pain and misunderstandings dissolve. We began to talk, share our experiences, and I realized that love, despite all the trials, was still alive. We decided to work on our relationship. It wasn't easy, but we were both ready to fight. We started seeing a therapist to sort out our feelings and learn how to support each other. I understood that I couldn't expect her to always be there if I wasn't ready to open up and share my struggles. With each passing day, our relationship grew stronger. We started dreaming again about the future, about how we would build our life together. I realized that the illness I was fighting should not define our lives. We became partners in this battle, and it gave me hope. Today, looking back, I see how much we have gone through. We have both changed, but this change has become the beginning of a new life. A new love based on understanding and support. I understand that hardships can separate us, but if there is desire and love, they can also bring us together. And in this moment, I feel ready for any challenges that may come our way.